Okay, just right off the bat, I don't know how podcasters start their episodes because this is the 15th time I've tried to start it, and I always just feel like I sound like an idiot. So here we go. My name is Melissa. I am a knitter who lives in Calgary, Alberta, Canada. This is my knitting room. Here's my stash over here. It's pretty decent. You would laugh if you could see the setup that I have going here right now. My phone is on my rolling office chair with an upside down garbage can, with a mug, with my phone on top of the mug with a candle behind it, propping it up. So that's how super profesh this podcast is going to be. I just decided this afternoon I was going to start my own podcast. I do have ADHD. I am medicated. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Just FYI, in case I go off on some tangents. That's very possible. Anyway, this is my knitting room. I was showing you my knitting room. Over here is where I usually sit. That's my chair. And with a mohair blanket and a mohair shawl on it. And some punch needle that I did. My sign that says if I'm sitting, I'm knitting. There's an air plant up there that I haven't killed yet. And a cross stitch, a beautiful cross stitch my mom made me. And yeah, I usually sit over there in my knitting chair. I'm sitting in my husband's chair at the moment, but the window is across from me. So if I was sitting in that knitting chair over there, half my face was in the light and half my face was in the dark. So it was like a whole face-off situation. And yeah. So yeah, my husband has a chair in my knitting room. I spend a lot of time in here. So usually if he wants to spend time with me, he has to come in here. So I bought myself a nice knitting chair. And so then I bought him one and he sits in here. He knits sometimes. I taught him how to knit, and he can knit cowls because it's nice, round and round and round. And he's currently working on his first pair of socks in DK weight, so it goes faster, but still, it's pretty fun when we're both sitting in here knitting. Maybe people have different definitions of fun than we do. He is a fun guy. He likes to go out and have fun with his friends. I prefer to stay home and knit. So I'm sure a lot of you out there can understand that. Anyway, I'm rambling already. This up here, if you noticed, is my Sophie scarf. It is a pattern by Petite Knit. I'm sure you've heard of it because 8 million people have made it. I made mine in a skein of DK tweed from Polka Dot Creek, which is where I work as a yarn dyer. Polka Dot Creek is owned by Shelly, my lovely boss, who is also a friend. And we have a lot of fun working there. I work there 2 days a week. We dye tons and tons and tons of yarn, and it's really fun. So anyway, Sophie scarf. I decided this afternoon that I was going to make a podcast. I think I said that already. And I wasn't wearing anything knitted and I didn't want to change, so I decided to put this on. But let me tell you, I've seen people wear these like this on their heads before, but there's a reason they never show you pictures of the back, because like they tie it up like this and then like you look like a bunny. So I'm like tucking it, and this one doesn't want to tuck back behind here. So I'm just gonna tuck it back here, and okay. Yeah, this is what it's like when you know me. Anyway, yeah, stitches be slippin'. That's me. I started knitting, I should have been prepared for this. I started knitting probably 3 years ago-ish, 4 years ago maybe. I started crocheting first. That was a few years before that. after I had had kids. I have 2 boys, age 8 and almost 10. And after they were probably about 2ish, I was just found myself, I am a stay-at-home mom besides working at Polka Dot Creek, and I just found myself on my phone scrolling nonstop all the time, and I wanted to get off of that and do something productive. And my sister-in-law showed up at Thanksgiving dinner one day with a crochet project, and I was immediately intrigued, and I put how to crochet in YouTube, and the rest is history. I went deep down the crochet rabbit hole and made 4 million blankets. And then after that, some of the people that I were following on Instagram started knitting, and I thought, So, boop, 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 knitting how to knit on YouTube, and yeah, went farther down the rabbit hole and still haven't seen the light of day. Loving it though. Yeah, I mostly knit garments. I love knitting sweaters. I was a real heavy sock knitter for a while, but I got burned out on that. I haven't made socks for a while. I do have a circular sock machine from Erlbacher Gearhart. So when I do have a hankering for making some socks, I crank a big long tube and I cut in heels and toes. And I do still knit the heels and toes and the cuffs. So there is still hand knitting in there. I know that the whole cranking debate, it's cheating, it's not cheating, whatever. I still do lots of hand knitting. I still do lots of that stuff. So I love my circular sock machine. It's fantastic. I also just got a new toy called a Centro knitting machine. I got this puppy a couple days ago, and I think I've made 6 toques now, 7 in like 2 days. Yeah, when I find something I like, I really dig in. I can show you a few actually. So this can start off my FO section. Oh yeah, so I'm not going to be editing and putting in titles and fancy graphics and stuff on here. So patterns, etc., designers, names of things, I'll put in the description box. Is that what it's called? Yeah. Anyway, I started cranking on my Centro machine. It was very easy to get started, having already had my circular sock machine, which is very temperamental. So I am very comfortable with casting on, binding off, all that stuff on there, and cranking, and dropping stitches and fixing them. So this Centro machine is like a breeze compared to my circular sock machine. My circular sock machine, she's over there. Her name is Blanche, by the way. I haven't named my Centro machine yet. Still thinking about that. Anyway, I started, it's mostly worsted weight yarn is the ideal weight for this, like a fairly decent amount of thickness worsted weight yarn. So a really light worsted probably isn't going to work because the needles are so far apart. It gets really gappy and holy. The first ones I made this one with Cascade 220, which is I think it's 100% superwash wool. And you can actually buy this. Polka Dot Creek carries some commercial yarn. We carry Cascade, Uptown worsted. Yeah, I think that's mostly it. But Cascade 220 is like a workhorse. Perfect, nice, soft, drapey worsted weight yarn. So I cranked that up. I think this was the second one I cranked. The first one went a little wonky. The first one I tried, I was using this Lion Brand Retweed. I had another skein of it, but it's not super soft, so it just didn't work out very well. It was very stiff and not like conforming to the shape of your head. Anyway, so this was my first one. It's pretty awesome. And then I made one for my younger son. He really wanted one. And then he wore it, no, and then I made one for myself. That's like a bright pink one. Shoot, I didn't bring it in here. Like bright, bright pink. And then I wore them to school pickup yesterday. And my mom that I hang out with at school pickup, my friend of mine, her son is the same age, my younger son. She was admiring my pink toque, and then my younger son came running out of school with his toque on that I made. Yes, I say toque a lot. I'm Canadian, deal with it. And they were admiring our toques. And she has 3 kids who I love dearly, and all 3 of them were like, I want this, they're like, those are so cool, that looks like a real toque. I'm like, it is a real toque. And so the littlest one wants a green one. The one that's my son's age wanted a blue one, dark blue one. And then the oldest one wanted a pink one. So I made like 4 toques today, this morning, before lunch. I was watching my favorite movie, Top Gun, and just cranking out some toques. So this is the green one that I made for the littlest guy. Now, the thing is with this is it's a set number of stitches, set number of needles, so you can't really make it bigger and smaller. You can sort of adjust a little bit. This one is for the littlest kid, but it ended up being the thickest yarn. I went to Walmart and just like bought basically every color of worsted weight yarn they had. And I mean, if you're a knitter, you know that worsted weight can mean there can be a lot of variation in thickness of a worsted weight yarn. So this one, this Cascade one, is really like drapey the way that it knit up because it's a thinner worsted weight yarn. It's still a very nice worsted weight yarn, but it's not as thick as this stuff from Walmart where like it's a little bit stiffer. So the yarn is a little bit thicker. So this ended up, it's like pretty much the same size, but this is, yeah. Anyway, so there's the green one. This was, they're all like, I think it's like, I bought Red Heart Super Saver, I bought Bernat Premium, like just all those. If you have questions about any specific ones, you can comment below, but I'm not gonna like say this was Red Heart Super Saver in this particular color. If you want to know, just comment below and I'll look it up and let you know. This is the one for the kid who's the same age as my son. He wanted dark blue. I found the perfect navy. I'm actually gonna make another one of these for myself because I really like this color. And I'm pretty sure my husband's gonna want this color, and I'm pretty sure my older son is gonna want this color. So I gotta go back to Walmart and get like 4 more skeins of this because it's really, really nice. And this is the pink one for the oldest. Now, this one I got a little creative. Not creative, it's just two-toned. So I had a skein of this beautiful corally peach. And I just did, instead of doing, so when I'm cranking it, I start at the beginning, do a big, huge, long tube. I've settled on about 140 rows. So for these ones, it's just 140 rows of the same color. For this one, I did 70 rows of this color, and then I changed colors and did 70 rows of this color. So she can have a reversible beanie. So she can have pink with peach headband or a peach with a pink headband. She asked for pink, so I gave her double pink. Hopefully she likes it. So there's that. And then the woman, the mom that I hang out with at school, it was her birthday last week. I went to her 40th, it was her 40th birthday last week. She's younger than me. And I didn't have a chance to get her a really nice gift. I just went to like Nordstrom Rack and found some earrings that I thought she might like. But she was really admiring our toques yesterday, so I thought I will make her a toque. So she really likes the sparkly things, so I made her this. It's the color on it says gray sparkle or something, but it's a very like kind of like a light lavender. Really pretty. Actually, I might make another one of these for me too. So yeah, I am a new Centro cranker, but having a lot of fun. Now, this is actually not a machine knitting podcast, believe it or not. I do knit. I knit a lot. Pretty much all the time. If you saw my sign over there, it says if I'm sitting, I'm knitting. That's the truth. So I'm gonna show you some, a couple more FOs. So at work at Polka Dot Creek Yarn, we have our own podcast there. It's called Easily Distracted by Yarn, and it is on the Polka Dot Creek Yarn YouTube channel. So if you can go over there and find all of that stuff. We don't podcast super regularly, but whenever we have like new yarn coming out or a festival, we just had a really fun festival last weekend that my boss Shelly, who owns Polka Dot Creek, her and her mom, who runs Creekside Garden Crafts, they run the Creekside Yarn Festival in Airdrie, and so that was on Saturday. It was great fun. We had, I think, between 30 and 40 different vendors with like yarn and project bags and like everything. Just a fun yarn heaven. Where was I going with that? Oh, we have a podcast. Polka Dot Creek, we have a podcast called Easily Distracted by Yarn. So this podcast here, which I think is going to be called Stitches Be Slippin' podcast, because that's just my name on Instagram, and I don't think there are any other podcasts called Stitches Be Slippin'. Hopefully not. So I'm gonna try and keep the two separate, but there may be some overlap on the Polka Dot Creek or Easily Distracted by Yarn podcast. We talk about all of our Polka Dot Creek whips, FOs, that kind of stuff. So I do knit with Polka Dot Creek yarn a lot because I love it, and but I also knit with a lot of other yarn, and want to share that with you guys because you guys seem interested at least in my knitting on the other podcast. So I thought maybe you might be interested in the other things I'm knitting that aren't Polka Dot Creek yarn. But again, there will be some overlap because I knit a lot of sweaters out of Polka Dot Creek yarn, and sweaters take a lot of time, so my FOs take a while, whips take a while. So when you're knitting a sweater, you don't usually have that many other whips on the go. At least I try not to. Anyway, these two FOs I showed on our Easily Distracted by Yarn podcast last week. So I'm not gonna go into tons of detail about them, but I wanna show them because they're awesome. So we have, we just released at Polka Dot Creek, we just released new Valentine's Day yarn because Valentine's Day is coming up. Valentine's Day is also my husband's birthday. That has nothing to do with this, just popped into my brain. So when we were dyeing the yarn, we're big fans of pink at Polka Dot Creek. So when Valentine's Day comes around and we're dyeing all the pink yarn, we get really excited. And Shelly speckled up this yarn and I just couldn't leave it behind. I think it was still hanging on the rack. I don't think it was fully dry yet. I just had to take it home. I couldn't leave it there. It would have been mean. So I took it home with some undyed mohair, and if you follow me for long enough, or if you follow me on Instagram, you will know I love mohair. I love putting mohair with everything. I love mohair sweaters. It's not itchy to me at all. I'm always cold, so I love being wrapped up in mohair. Anyway, this is my sweater. This is the Cozy Classic Raglan by Jessie May. The increases are so beautiful. They're lifted increases, so they almost look like little hearts on my Valentine sweater. The name of this colorway is called Galentine's. It is just a neutral, undyed base with pink and browns and stuff speckled on it. I love this pattern. It's an excellent, just basic raglan pattern, but the pattern itself has, I think it's like, I don't even know, 10 pages long or something like that. It has all kinds of instructions. If you've never knit a sweater before, if you've never knit a raglan sweater before, a top-down sweater before, do this one because there's all kinds of instructions. It's basically a tutorial or workshop. There's links with videos of all the different things if you don't know how to do them. Jessie May knows how to write a pattern. Anyway, this is my beautiful mohair sweater. I don't know if you can see. Look at that halo. Oh, love it. And this is my other recent FO. This is also Polka Dot Creek yarn. We have a colorway called Carnation, and it's beautiful, and I wanted to make a whole sweater out of it. So I dyed some of it for myself in a pan because we weren't actually dyeing that color that day. So I put a bunch of it in the pan. If you've watched the Easily Distracted by Yarn podcast, you've heard this story before, so apologies. I put it all in a pan. I put in 2 skeins of mohair. I put in 2 full skeins of fingering weight yarn and a zip tie of fingering weight minis, which is 3 20-gram minis, and put it all in a pan and put the dye on. The mohair took it up really well. The fingering weight, just because there was a lot of yarn in there and a lot of different bases, it was a little bit light and splotchy, so I brought some dye home with me and re-dyed just the fingering weight full skeins and the minis just in a pot in my kitchen, and it turned out amazing. So this is what I made with it. This is a love note by Tin Can Knits. That's the designer. It is a beautiful lace, like leaves and stuff. It's so gorgeous. Look at this color. So this is fingering weight and mohair held together in the color Carnation by Polka Dot Creek. The regular Carnation isn't quite as bright as this, but it's almost the same. So that is that. What else did I have to say about that? I said it all. Just go listen to me talk about it in the other podcast because I shouldn't say it all again because most of you who will be watching this will probably have already watched that other one anyway, so I won't bore you any further. Those are my FOs. I have a lot of whips. I proclaim myself to be a monogamous knitter, but I just get really excited about casting things on sometimes. And I have ADHD, so that I get bored with something really easily and then I want to cast on something new. Yeah, so I have here. I am working on a half and half triangles wrap by Pearl Soho. It's a free pattern and it's awesome. I was just gonna show you a picture on my phone, but I'm recording this on my phone, so that's not gonna work very well. It's just a beautiful garter stitch pattern where you use short rows to make a big triangle, and then with one color, and then you change colors and use short rows to make the other half of the, so it turns out in a big square, obviously, but with 2 different colors. It's beautiful. Check it out if you haven't seen it. This was a gift from a very dear friend of mine for Christmas. She sent me basically a kit to make this pattern, which is awesome. She sent me these 2 colors. Come on, right? Like, oh, they're so pretty. These are, so Pearl Soho is the designer of the pattern, and this is Pearl Soho yarn. So I think you can just order kits from Pearl Soho, obviously. This yarn is called Linen Quill. It is 50% fine Highland wool, 35% alpaca, and 15% linen. Linen. Let me enunciate. This color is called Peony Pink. And that's coming up pretty accurate, I think, that color. This color is called Pink Pop. So imagine a giant wrap, one triangle in this color, one triangle in this color. Ah, so good. So I started knitting this. I've been knitting on it for 2 or 3 weeks probably. And I finished my first triangle. I cast on the smaller size. There's 2 sizes. The first size is 190 stitches. The second size is, I think, 260 or something like that. Again, free pattern. I'm not giving away any secrets. So I finished my first triangle and I was like, this seems smaller than it's supposed to be. Because like everyone on Instagram, everyone on the internet who makes this wrap is like, oh my God, it takes forever. It's so long. It takes so long to make, and it's so big. Like all the Ravelry pictures of people wearing their wraps is like 5 feet by 5 feet or something. And this was just like a regular single skein kind of situation. I hadn't even used a single skein yet. I hadn't used a full skein yet. So then I thought, I think I'm doing this wrong. So I looked into it a little more. I think what happened was I was using German short rows instead of the wrap and turn that you're supposed to use, which is called for in the pattern. I hate doing wrap and turns. So I was using German short rows, and I think that somehow made it so that I don't know. Anyway, I was only short rowing every other stitch, and I was supposed to be short rowing every stitch. So I would do my short row, knit one, and then carry on. And you were supposed to, anyway, my brain is going, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, I only knit half of the rows that I was supposed to. So it ended up half the size it was supposed to be. So I had to frog the whole thing last night, and I'm starting over. But, and this is another thing about me, I hate frogging stuff. If I make a mistake, I'm just like, nah, I don't care, I'm gonna keep going. But I really want this wrap to be like big and glorious and beautiful because these colors are so gorgeous. So it didn't even bother me that I frogged it and restarted it, because like I got a taste. I finished that. I finished my first big triangle in this color and started making the second triangle in this color, and I got like a taste of what it was gonna look like, and that's what's keeping me going because it's so good. Anyway, I recast on. This is how far I've gotten. Not very, but this is a process knit. I'm 95% of the time I'm a product knitter. I just want to knit, knit, knit so I can have something new, and then I want to cast on something else. But this is just, it's so fun. I also had trouble with, when I started out, I was knitting on I used ChiaoGoo interchangeable needles, the silver tips, and that's all I've ever knit with. So I'm a little spoiled because I just bought interchangeable needles when I started knitting, which was brilliant. Looking back, because I've never had to buy any other needles since. But the silver tips were feeling, the yarn on the tips were feeling really slippery, and it wasn't enjoyable to knit. Now I do have a set of leaky, I don't know how you pronounce it, wooden tips. So I took those out and started knitting, and the feel was much better. It's grippier, it's holding onto the yarn, but the cables on those needles are brutal. Just throwing it out there. They suck. I put it up on Instagram asking if anyone had, like, they're curly, right? Like ChiaoGoo cables don't curl. They have no memory. They're like coated stainless steel or whatever. And these cables were just like my project. This is fixed, but my project on here looked like a pig's tail because it was just like corkscrewed. And I was knitting and trying to shift my stitches up on and like having to go around. Anyway, I had enough of it, and I posted on Instagram asking for help. And a lovely follower of mine said that the Lantern Moon stainless steel coated swivel cords, I don't know if you can see that, but this swivels, fit in the Luca needles like a leaky whatever. And so I got those from my another local yarn shop here in Calgary called Stash Lounge. They carried them and I went and picked them up, and it has made a world of difference. This cable doesn't curl up like a pig's tail. So thank goodness. And then someone else actually, after I got those cables, mentioned to me that ChiaoGoo also makes bamboo interchangeable needles that would work with my interchangeable set. So I could have done that too. Actually, I think I did order some on Amazon. They haven't come yet. But this fixed it, so hallelujah. So yes. Oh, and that project is living in this project bag, which is so cute. Ah, look at all those little animals. I particularly love the elephant and the elephant's trunk. But it's so cute. I got this bag at the Creekside Festival, and can you tell? That's corduroy. Ah, so cute. I got this bag at the Yarn Festival on the weekend. This was made by Penny. She is Creekside Gardens Crafts on Etsy. She has bazillions of awesome project bags, and it's just, beep, there we go. Penny is the mom of Shelly, who owns Polka Dot Creek. So it's all, whoa, I almost knocked out over the whole thing. Penny is Shelly's mom. So it's kind of like it's a family business. Lost my train of thought there. Okay, gonna power through. Whips. I also have a sweater on the needles. I almost always have a sweater on the needles. I almost always have more than one sweater on the needles, but I'm trying not to do that. There is a knit-along going on right now called, I can't remember what it's called. Let's Lento or Lento Along or something like that. It's the Lento pattern by ... Jana Haitala. I don't know how to pronounce her last name. It's just another basic raglan sweater with a large gauge, which is my jam. And I've wanted to make the sweater for a while. I've had this yarn in my stash for a while. I bought this yarn, I think 2 summers ago in Victoria. We were visiting Victoria, British Columbia, which is beautiful. You should go there if you've never been there. We have actually a cabin out in the Gulf Islands close to Victoria, so I was visiting the yarn shop while we were there, and I bought this yarn. This is Ancient Arts yarn, which is actually a local dyer here in Calgary, but the yarn shop in Victoria called Beehive, the Beehive Wool Shop, I believe it's called, carries them as well. So this is the fingering weight yarn that I'm holding. And, ooh, do I have the tags in here? I do. So it's Ancient Arts yarn. This is the Sock NATO base fingering weight. And what is this color called? It's called Iron Horse. That's the name of this color. And I am holding it together. Oh no. I don't know where the tag is for my mohair. I got this mohair also at the Beehive. I bought these together to put them together. And it's, shoot, I forget what the dyer's name is. Oh, I hate it when podcasters do this. Don't you hate that? Oh, I hate me right now. I don't know where the tag is. I will find it and try to remember to put it in the notes. Sorry. This is the beginning of my sweater anyway. I am, I believe, almost done with the raglan increases. My toxic knitting trait is that I like to keep things on very short cables so I'm not constantly shifting stitches over. So anyway, it's a really pretty, it's just a, I mean, basic raglan sweater, but I really like how the color is coming out with these two held together. So that's one of my whips that I'm working on. And I have a little, this is my stitch marker. That's from Ocean Loops. Lolly, she's amazing. She's beautiful. She's a beautiful, beautiful maker. She makes gorgeous, gorgeous stitch markers and progress keepers and things. I bought some stuff from her at the festival as well. If I have enough time to get to acquisitions, I will hopefully remember to talk about that. What else am I whipping on? My half and half, my Lento. I'm also making a temperature snake, which is similar to a temperature blanket, but it's much smaller because I know me and my commitment level, and I can't commit to a full blanket. So I forgot to bring Bob over here, so one moment. Okay, this is Bob. Ah! I dropped him. This is Bob, my temperature snake. Today is the 24th, so I've got, I think, 23 days on him so far. It has been pretty much the same temperature for all of January. It's about to get cold this weekend though, so sorry. It's about to get much colder this weekend, so we might get some actual colors onto this puppy, on this guy. He's a little boring at the moment. The pattern for this is by June something or other. Her Instagram handle is Planet June, and someone posted it on someone that I follow posted it on Instagram, and I was like, that's the one. That's something I can commit to. It's like, I don't know how many stitches, 20 stitches a day. Yeah, I can do that. It's still attached to this yarn because I got tired of, like, almost every day has been this color. So I leave it attached in case the next day is the same color, and then I don't have to cut and restart. Anyway, that's Bob. I am also working on Cozy Memories blanket. Hang on. Ooh. I didn't have it close to me. I'm sure you've seen lots of Cozy Memories blankets before. This is my version. Most of them are fingering weight, which, I mean, are beautiful, but they make teeny tiny little squares, and I don't have the time or patience for that. Like I said, product knitter. I want it done, I want it fast. So I am holding all of my squares double, so they're fingering weight held double. And one of those strands in every single block is gray. So it gives it some consistency, some color, like color consistency throughout. Because sometimes, like, holding different colors, like when it's a scrappy project and all of the blocks, it just kind of is a little jarring sometimes when different colors are beside each other. But when you hold it with gray all the time, it kind of gives it a little color consistency. So the whole blanket will sort of look gray, but it will also have lots of different colors. So we were just talking about Cozy Memories blankets on the Easily Distracted by Yarn website last week. Podcast. Shelly was showing one that she's just started. She's doing, so these are mitered squares. So you cast on here, like your very first block you cast on, and then, well, sorry, it would probably be here. And then you do decreases to get up to here. And so when she's casting on in an undyed, so it's white, and then doing like 5 or 6 rows, and then doing the color on the inside. And so when she joins them together, it will be there will be like framed. So there will be white around here. So white around here and here and here. So the colors inside, anyway, go check out, I'm not very good at describing this. Go look at the Easily Distracted by Yarn podcast if you want like an actual visual of what I'm trying to describe badly. So after she was talking about that, this project has been in my knitting room in my like hibernating basket for at least 2 years. And then she showed me that, and a lot of other people have just been posting about making Cozy Memories blankets recently. So I decided to take mine out and get going on it again. This purple one here was about halfway through when I picked it up. It had been about halfway through for about 2 years. So I finished that one. And then this one I added in, this is the Galentine's yarn from, this is the Galentine's yarn from this sweater. And then this is the Carnation yarn from this sweater. So, and when I was at the festival on the weekend, we dye at Polka Dot Creek Yarn. We dye a lot of minis. We dye a lot of yarn bouquets, which is like a whole bunch of minis of different colors all put together. Gorgeous. We had a whole bunch of new bouquets at the festival that I helped dye. And this one that I got, I kept going back to it. I'm not a jewel tone person at all, but this jewel tone bouquet just was floating my boat, and I couldn't leave it. So I went to this yarn festival with like at least 20 other yarn dyers, and the only yarn I bought was a bouquet from our own booth that I helped dye. Now, you know you're in the right lane. Yeah. Let me grab it. It's right here. This. Oh no, my bunny ears are coming out. Oh no. I have to hold my head really carefully because they're not tucked in. This is the yarn bouquet. It's called Family Jewels. It's available on the Polka Dot Creek website right now. So if you want one, you should go get it because it's beautiful. Oh, you can even see the sparkle. Some of them have sparkles. Some of them don't. It's just, it was just screaming at me. It was like, take me home. So my plan is to put some of these in my Cozy Memories blanket. That's the plan. This burgundy one, it's so gorgeous. So with Stellina, when we dye it, the Stellina is silver and then it just stays silver. But this burgundy dye was so strong. Like some dyes are stronger than others. Some dyes like dye the zip ties and some dyes don't. And this burgundy, I don't know if you can really see it in here, but the burgundy actually dyed the Stellina burgundy. Blown. Mind blown. Anyway, that was one of the things that I bought at the yarn festival. That's the only yarn I bought. I kind of went a little overboard with project bags, but I'm still talking about whips. Cozy Memories. Okay, I'm done whips. Acquisitions, I can talk about my project bags that I bought. The one from Creekside, from Creek Gardens Crafts, that's one of them. Because I love Penny. And I have a couple others that I got. So this one is a gorgeous Harris tweed in like this mustard and sort of bluish gray, and it has bumblebees inside it. Come on, so cute. So cute. That's a little inside joke from our Easily Distracted by Yarn podcast. For some reason, we all just say so cute all the time, and it's now like an ongoing joke about Whenever someone says so cute, we laugh. Anyway, this is by Sew Shannon, S-E-W Shannon. She is, I think, Sew Shannon YYC on Instagram. She is a very prolific bag maker. She is one of the officially licensed Harris Tweed bag makers. So go check her out. I have so many of her project bags. She also makes really fun, like scrappy quilted bags, patchwork bags, doctor bags, not, well, like this. This is another Harris Tweed one that I have from Shannon. I didn't buy this weekend, but I bought recently, and it has like the wire in it so that it stays open. So she makes lots of bags like this. That has my Lento in it. I forgot to show what my Lento was living in. And then this one just blew me out of the water. I saw this booth from across the festival and beelined for it. This maker is called White Dog Design. And she makes project bags with quilted fucking yarn balls on it. I apologize if you don't like bad language, but this might not be the place for you if you don't like that. Quilted yarn balls. I am such a sucker. And then inside it has a couple pockets and the lining fabric. I don't know if you can see. Yeah, it's pins. But yeah, anyway, I saw the quilted yarn balls and like, this is brilliant. Like, I've been to lots of yarn festivals. I've seen a million project bags. I have never, ever seen quilted yarn balls. Like, she is doing a great job at thinking outside the box and like doing something different, something people haven't seen before. Because that's the thing that people want to buy, is something different that they haven't seen before. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk. And what else? Ooh, I have a couple other skeins of yarn that were also gifts. I haven't been buying very much yarn lately because I am planning on going to Knit City, Montreal in May with my friend Karen. Karen and I have known each other on Instagram since I started knitting. She was one of the other makers that was starting to knit when I started to knit. We made socks together for our first knitting projects. And we just became fast friends, me and Karen and another maker named Britt. We've just we all hit it off and have like been friends ever since. I've met Britt in person a few times. I haven't met Karen in person yet because she lives in New York and I live in Calgary, and COVID and all that kind of stuff. So I'm really hoping that Karen and I can get together and go to Knit City, Montreal together, because like we're such good friends, but we've never actually met in person, which is very sad. But we send each other presents all the time, and she sent me these beautiful yarns for Christmas. This is called Megs Co. This is a BFL, which is Blue Face Luster, but it's a superwash BFL, which I don't think I've ever seen before, and it's a sock weight yarn. It's 100% BFL. This is called Genesee River Sunset Cruise. This yarn is dyed in Fairport, New York, which I believe is near Rochester, which is where Karen grew up. So this is from her local yarn store there. She actually lives in New York City, but this is where she goes. Anyway, she sent me that one and this one. This one's also the same base, BFL base, and it's called Wine Tasting in the Finger Lakes. So all of the names, I guess, are things that are like places that are local to them and things that you can do in that area. So those are beautiful. I don't know what I'm going to make with them yet, but I really like, sometimes I just really like taking yarn off of the shelves and just petting them and telling them that I love them and that I'll get to them soon. Yes, I have those project bags. Okay, I'm gonna try and wrap it up here because I probably have to go pick up my kids from school soon. They're not probably gonna be very impressed if I ditch them for making a podcast. I will talk now about some knitting plans. My knitting plans pretty much occupy my brain for about 99% of the day. That I'm conscious, I'm awake, I'm thinking about what I want to make. Not what I'm making, because that's already been planned. I've already got the yarn, I've already got the pattern, I've already started making it. I'm not thinking about that anymore. What I'm thinking about all day long is what I want to make, what kind of yarn I want to get, what patterns I want to make, etc. So there's so many. I have so many lists. I keep making updated lists because I don't know, you know, it goes for so long that I have all these whips on the go. I try to finish my whips before I start something new. It doesn't always work. But I just have so many lists. So currently the things that I want to make, and I can't really show you pictures of any of them because I'm recording on my phone, and I would usually show you that way. But one thing I can talk about is my husband and I are going to Chicago in April. He has to go there for work, and so part of that, there are 2 evenings that are planned with this work trip that we will be going to. One of them is a fancy dinner at a fancy restaurant. It's like a 10-course, like Michelin something or other. I don't know. I am not a foodie. They're basically just going to be throwing money down the drain because I'm not a foodie. I don't care about, and I have all kinds of I have celiac. I have all kinds of food stuff. So anyway, we have to be all super dressy. The dress theme that we've been given is sparkly, shiny, or slinky. I'm not a slinky kind of gal, but I have been dying to knit something sparkly. So I am in the midst of planning. I do have a pattern in mind. I want to make a blouse with some puff sleeves with mohair and holding a sequin yarn, a super sparkly sequin yarn throughout, and then maybe pair that with a fancy skirt, like a tulle skirt or I don't know what. I'm still in the development stages of that planning. But the other thing that I am planning to make, what's the name of it? Oh, I think I remember the name. The other night when we have plans with the work people that we're going with, the theme is prohibition, because we're going to Chicago and we haven't been told what the plans are. I'm assuming it's some sort of prohibition tour in Chicago, but we've been told we have to dress in prohibition era clothes. So flapper dresses, gangster, all this kind of stuff. So I'm going to order a flapper dress. I don't know from where, the internet somewhere. But I also want to make something. Last year for this work trip, we went to the Kentucky Derby, and I made the LYS cardigan by Andrea Mowry in, shoot, what color was it? Coral, from Polka Dot Creek. If you go on my Instagram feed and scroll down a little bit, I have a picture. There's a picture of me at the Kentucky Derby wearing my LYS cardigan that I made for it. It was beautiful. Anyway, so my plan is to always knit something to wear when we go on these work trips. So for the prohibition night, my plan is to make a fur stole. So Alexi of 2 of Wands recently released a pattern that it's a knit. There's a knit version and a crochet version, and I'm going to knit it. And the knit version, I believe, is called Fete, F-E-T-E, stole. I wish I could show you a picture of it because it's so pretty, but it's wraps around and then just kind of attaches in the front, and I'm going to make that with this color. And I think that will be really cool. I don't know. I'm not really into theme dressing, but I think this will be fun. I've never knit stole before, and I've never knit with this stuff before. I chose to knit instead of crochet because I have tried to crochet with kind of fluffy yarn like this, and you cannot see where to put the hook in to make those stitches. At least when it's on the needles, I can separate the stitches and see where they are. So yeah, stay tuned for that. I will post pictures in April when we go and I have a picture of myself wearing it. I have lots and lots of other projects that I want to make, but like I said, I can't show you any pictures of them, so it would be kind of pointless. I have a lot of, I have a few sweater quantities. This kind of mustardy sweater quantity back there, it doesn't look mustardy right now because the sun's sort of starting to go down. I'm planning on making myself something with that, either like a Felix pullover or something along those lines. This is an Aran weight. One of the local yarn shops here closed last year, and this is one of the lines they carry. Oh, I can't reach. It's called Haynes Creek Heathers. My other local yarn shop here, Stash Lounge, carries this as well. But I got a sweater quantity of this for myself, and the blue ones, there's more of them in that basket down there. In case you're wondering why I only have 4 for a sweater quantity. The blue ones are for my husband. I'm planning on making him a sweater with those blue ones as well. And I have these brown ones up here are, oh, bunny ears. Those brown ones up there are a worsted weight from Polka Dot Creek, and I haven't decided what to make with those either. Yeah, I think I've reached the end of all of my rambling. Oh, I do have another project that I want to make. We sell at Polka Dot Creek Yarn, we sell mohair mitten sets. Last year, I made a pair of mittens for Shelly, my boss, for Christmas. And I used one of our yarn bouquets that we had made. It was sort of like this, but it was in Christmas colors because it was a Christmas themed bouquet. And I just made the world's simplest mittens by Tin Can Knits. And I held each color together with like an undyed mohair. And I just striped the colors. I think I did 8 row stripes on each one. Shelly has a picture of those mittens on her Instagram feed somewhere. You might have to scroll back quite a ways because it was Christmas last year. But we've been selling lots of those mohair ever since I made those for her. She started making kits because people see them and love them, and so we've been making kits, mohair mitten kits, with like just varying color schemes. So I have a mohair mitten set that we put together for the Fiber Shindig, which is another festival that was in the fall last year. And I've just been playing around with that, dreaming about casting it on. I would like to at least get some of my other whips off the needles before I start that, but I really want to start it. Let me just show you the colors though, they're really pretty. I've gone a little bit outside of the kit, but every time I get up, my bunny ears stop flapping. There is a kit, mohair mitten kit, that is these colors. There's one more color over there that I didn't grab. This is the rose gold mohair mitten set. The set comes with that other color, which is toffee, which is like a lighter brown. And it comes with sand colored mohair. I'm going a little bit off script, and I've taken out the other brown, and this little 10-gram mini came out of my yarn bouquet here. So I think I'm going to put those 5 together in some semblance of order. Probably not those dark ones together. Probably like that maybe. Can't really see the colors that great. Well, that's better. And then I have like a really light blush mohair that's left over from the, can you see the pink one right there? That shawl right there. We had some leftover pink dye in the pans one day, and it was too pretty to just throw out, so we threw some mohair in fingering weight into it, and it dyed this gorgeous, gorgeous, just light blush. So I took a skein of each of those and made that shawl that's called the Fleur Shawl by Tricot, and it's a free pattern on Ravelry. So I have this leftover from that, and I think I'm going to make some mittens with it. That's my plan. Anyway, I don't know if I'll ever actually publish this, but I wanted to get it out of my brain. I've been thinking about it for a while. People seem to enjoy our podcasts that we do for Easily Distracted by Yarn. But I have lots of other whips that I make with other yarns as well, so I thought I might share those too. It's ridiculous that it's just me, and I'm at an hour already, so I should probably just cut this loose. Yeah. Let me know down in the comments below if you have any questions, comments. I don't know. I've never done this before. Yeah. I have to go pick up my kids from school. So I'm gonna take this pile of toques and gift them, because that is what we do, right? Knitters, we gift things, we make things for people, and we gift them, and then never see them again. No, I think I'll see these again. I think they'll wear these because they asked for them. Sometimes we knit things for people that they didn't ask for, then they're like, oh, that's cool, and then you never see them again, and you're like, well, you're not getting anything knitted anymore ever. And yes, I recognize I didn't knit these, but I did make them. So there's a difference between hand knitting and hand making. This is a handmade item. I turned this from a skein of yarn, obviously not this yarn, into this. So I made it. I sewed up the thing. I cranked it. Holy crap, that machine. My circular sock machine, I think you crank it once, maybe 1.5 times per round. This thing, I think you have to crank it, I was trying to count, between 10 and 13 times per round. So your arm gets really tired. So this is work. Like, it's not like I just went magically poof and it appeared. So anyway, that's how I feel. Thank you for watching, and let me know if you have any comments, criticisms, or positive things to say. Okay. Thank you. Bye.